Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Peter and I like to talk about a lot of things. Today I'm going to be talking about No ID with Dineo, her new podcast. Dineo Ranaka is one of the best reality show producers, right? She came up with Dineo's Diary, the best reality show to have ever been on TV screens in South Africa. We all know that. I think everyone agrees. And she also is the producer of the Ranakas, which is her family, which is also one of the best reality shows. Like, she just knows what to do with reality. She just has her finger on the pulse. I don't know what it is, but she knows what to, because reality is not scripted, but she knows how to sculpt reality into being fantastic work. So that makes me think that she's probably going to be good at podcasting because she talks a lot like me. Anyway, going into this video, I just want to say I watched this podcast, with as much anticipation as anyone else. And going into the video, I did not think I was going to make a video about it. But as I was listening to it, I was like, this is a rich text. This is a rich text, and I want to talk about it. I don't know if I'm going to do this episode per episode. I don't think I am because I don't think it's going to be compelling to do it for each and every video. But I think it's compelling to do it for this video because with this first episode, it's not just an interview. I think it's a look at how co-parents work. It's a look at how in heterosexual relationships, 9 times out of 10, dare I say 10 out of 10 times, the woman is going to be doing the emotional labor. The woman is going to be doing the bulk of the emotional labor, if not all of it. And actually, in this interview, Blacklist, to his credit, acknowledges this.
It would be disingenuous if I didn't say that you've more often than not, I mean, each time, you've driven the process you've always tried to drive the process to get us here.
And I just think that's what happens. Like, I just feel like when women are going into relationships, they are going into a role of being a counselor and a therapist most of the time because I don't know, it's just expected, I guess. Anyway, I want to talk about this interview because watching this interview, I was like, this is fun, this is fun, this is fun. And like after 20 minutes, I was like, oh, this is a thick text. Like just watching the interview, listening to it, listening to how Blacklist was responding, listening to Dinero's questions, I was like, oh, I want to talk about this. So let's get into it. First of all, Dinero's good at what she does. She is so good at pushing, but also knowing when to fall back to allow someone to be comfortable within the space and not to completely shut off. Because Blacklist came ready to fight. Let me not say ready to fight, but he came on the defense mode. He came very closed off. This was his posture the whole time. And when it wasn't that, his hands were in his pockets the whole time. Which, I'm not a body posture professional, but that shows that he is not open. He's not, open to receiving whatever information. He's closed off. Um, and he was like that from the get go. But Dineo persisted with her questions. She didn't really get much because he was not going to give anything, but she got some things out of it. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. So, if you're coming into this and you're just watching this and you don't know what the hell is going on between Dineo and Blacklist, Dineo is a radio host, just media mogul. I'm gonna call her that. She's a media mogul, and Blacklist is a rapper, and they started dating, I think, sometime during 2010, 2011. And when they started dating, Dineo started her first season of her reality show, Dineo's Diary. And that's where we saw their relationship and the deterioration of the relationship. And yeah, things have just been sour ever since. But then, they eventually reconcile. So, bearing in mind all of these things, that I'm telling you that, he's coming in with bad posture. just bad vibes. He says Dineo did him dirty, and they all agree that they had some shortcomings in their relationship. But the thing about Dineo that I like, she has mastered being able to be truthful, but also guarding herself. She's very good at that. So she says, "Let me tell you what I didn't like." She talks about how Black Les was not there for her when she was pregnant with their baby, and how when it was time for the baby to be born in the theater, he was there.
When she was born, I was with you when she was born.
I hated that moment, by the way.
It, tell me more about that moment for
I
you.
hated that moment. I felt like you were there for your own clout. I didn't feel like you were there for the birth of the baby, and that's how I truly feel.
I'm sorry you feel that way, and I'm sorry it came across that way.
Every other moment prior to that moment that I needed you, you weren't there. You weren't available. But for that one particular moment, I was like, wow.
But I think you're looking at it with too much intelligence. People generally want to be around for big moments.
Yes.
And Black Liz is like, "Oh, I'm sorry you felt that way." But do you hear what he says? "I'm sorry you felt that way." So he's not even apologizing, but he's apologizing. So, "Oh, I'm sorry you felt that way." I just think that people just want to be there for the big moments. I think you're thinking about this too intelligently. I think people just want to be there for big moments. I'm like, that's exactly what she's saying. You are literally saying exactly what she's saying in a different way. So you agree that what you did is what you did. You just don't want to apologize for it. You're saying you're sorry for how she felt. Anyway, after they talk about, how Janelle felt about the whole pregnancy thing and he fake apologizes, then Janelle also goes on to talk about his mother dying, I suppose 2 years after that or something like that. And she says that she, understands that he went through a lot of trauma and all of that. And he's like, actually, I felt like you hijacked my mother's death.
But I felt like you try to hijack that moment.
Which moment?
My mother dying moment.
How did I hijack it?
Because you just weren't letting up.
My mother's death. And she's like, I hijacked your mother. I said, how did I do that? He's like, well, he felt like they were having all these fights and it was like a war between them. But he feels like she still, after his mother died, she still wouldn't let up. She still wouldn't just allow him to. I don't know. I don't even know what he's saying at this point. But essentially, she was still fighting him, right? And she's like, please, I don't remember this. Please explain to me the things that I was doing that made you feel like I wouldn't let up.
How did I go for your neck? Please teach me things about myself that I haven't seen.
So you now have decided to take me down this shithole that I've worked so hard to get away from. Tell me why you're doing that.
Why am I doing
Yeah,
what this?
This, yes.
This.
Why? Are you cloud chasing?
I'm not cloud chasing at all.
I'm saying to you, the reason I did that deliberately to prove a point
Yeah.
of clout. I don't believe what I've just said. I'm
I
trying to
wouldn't
prove
know.
a point.
The
The
same.
same insult that you've just taken now, I was using this moment to try and make you see this thing through another glass.
But I wasn't trying to insult you when I said that. I was talking to you about how I felt at the time.
And it's like, see, I don't believe that. I'm trying to prove a point. I'm trying to prove a point when you said I was looking for clout when I was there for the birth of my baby. He's going back. He just apologized. He literally just apologized, but now he is making a point by lying. You guys, he said, I can't believe I'm saying this. He made up this whole thing about her not letting up when his mother died, just so he could prove a point that Dineo is being unreasonable for being upset that he wasn't there for her when she was pregnant, but he was there for the birth and she should have just accepted it. Lisanya, I'm like, I'm watching this and I'm like, The fact that Dineo is not going crazy right now shows me that she really has matured. Because Dineo from Dineo's diary would have blown up because this is ridiculous. He's literally this is childish behavior. I don't even know why he came to this interview at this point. It does get better towards the end. But at this point, I'm thinking like, why did he come here if he's literally just gonna be defensive the whole time? None of his questions are actually questions. Whenever he actually has a question for Dineo, it's only to be a rebuttal to a question that Dineo is asking. Like she'll ask a question and be like, but why are you asking? But why you do this? And let me ask you why you do that. Like it's only questions to react to her questions. He doesn't really have anything much to say. I don't I don't know. Like at this point of the interview, I'm not liking Black Liz. Like I'm just like this man is just so manipulative and not really doing a good job at it because and anyway, Dineo really is like, okay, okay. And she's like, oh, I get you. And I'm just there like thinking she has to fall back. Because if she does not fall back, he's not gonna ever be receptive and the whole interview is like a mess. And she's now not only thinking about I need to get this interview correct because she's a professional, but she's also thinking, she has to maintain a cordial, civil relationship between herself and him because they have a baby. So now they talk about the fact that after they split up, Black Liz started not getting gigs because they split up.
People telling me straight up, you didn't get this check because A, B, and C. I got stuck in survival mode. Me, a guy with guts and glory and brains like myself.
I don't I don't know how that works, but he started not getting gigs, and people in social media were saying that he was he basically was only with Dineo to get the fame, and he's just not a good rapper or something. Like people were calling him all sorts of names, and he says that Dineo exacerbated the vitriol that was coming from the public.
You don't think, with everything that happened after word got out to the public that we weren't together, you don't think you helped that fire burn me a little bit? And you stood there, just watched. But the narrative will be deadbeat dad.
And I'm thinking to myself, I don't remember people ever calling Black Liz a deadbeat dad. Now I'll tell you, I remember the public calling Black Liz a deadbeat rapper. I remember that. I remember people calling him like, "Where's the music, sir?" Because and Dino points us out that they were both in just a bad light. Like they both had from different sides people calling them names in the public because they were both on the reality show. And Janelle honestly looked crazy on the reality show. So I'm sure she was getting like the most hate from the public. And neither of them stood up for each other. Dineo didn't speak up for him, and he didn't speak up for Dineo. So I don't understand why he expects her to speak up for him. And she points us out.
I think we were going through the same thing. You didn't lean out to protect me. I didn't lean out to protect you.
And he says to this day, people still know him as the guy who once dated Dineo.
Now I become that guy who Luna Jalal Dineo. For the next 2 years, I have to work that shit off. But my 4 or 5 years, trying to show people that I'm legit. Until I stop trying to show them that I'm legit. It's like it doesn't matter anymore.
Now, men have entitlement. I'm sorry. Because how you gonna blame someone else for not having your own identity? You're the rapper, right? You're the one who's supposed to carve out a lane and an identity for yourself. Because where's the music? I know that one song of his, what is it, with Casper Nyovest? Saka Nyuga. I know that. That's it. I don't know any other song. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is it that you're not making hits, Black Liz? I'm not, And I don't want to come out here and say that he's not a good rapper. I don't listen to his music, so I wouldn't know. But what I'm saying is he's not making hits. If he was making hits, people would know him for the music, not for someone he dated 10 years ago. And I don't know if it's his fault, but I feel like it is just so childish for him to blame her for that. And he does at some point. It's like, "Ha, ke but he's only saying that like after he said all these things, being like, you fueled the fire, you did all of this, you did all of this. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, hi, which is like, it's basically like offending someone, being like, no offense, but you're ugly. As Elamai said, let the music do the talking.
And this is proof, honestly, that you let the music do the talking.
And he didn't let the music do the talking, did he? You know, he goes on to get emotional about the whole thing, about how it hurts him.
Nkawatile lady. Nkawatile.
And you can really see some raw emotion coming from him. And I think that's because of the space that Dineo is facilitating at this point. Because she again, she's just so good at her job that even when she still has questions, she leans, she leans back and she allows the person to have their moment, pushes a little bit to get the answers that she wants, but not too much to alienate the person. I'm really looking forward to seeing more interviews from her because I'm just like the fact that you were able to get something from this man who was so closed off coming into this interview, really didn't want to talk about anything, but you still got them to somewhat open up. That takes skill. She goes on to ask him, after the whole emotional moments that he has, where I think he's even crying, but we don't see tears because he's wearing shades. She asks, have you healed from it?
Have you healed from it, though? Are you truly okay
I
from
think I'm
it?
on the path. I think I'm on the path. I think every day I keep getting stronger. I think I keep trying to do better than I did the previous day.
Which yeah, it's up to him to say. He does. I would definitely not say he's healed from it. He does not look like he's healed. Um, and if he says he's on the path, I think on that path he needs to take more accountability for what he's done and what has transpired, and try to not look to external forces too much. Because throughout this interview, there's so many things that led him to where he is, and so little of it has to do with him. And I think that is very important. I'm not a psychologist, but it's very important to be like, how did I end up? How did I get myself here? Obviously, there are circumstances and there are external stimuli and all of that, external causes that cause you to do things. But at the end of the day, I think the only way you can change your future situation is change all the things that led you to where you are. And you have to change the things within yourself. So on the part that he's talking about, I think he needs to look at that. The interview carries on and Dineo keeps asking him questions and he keeps equivocating everything. He's very vague. Never really wants to answer anything. Answers in riddles. Dineo goes back to the previous questions, like, I really want to know how I didn't let up. And he's like, no, after all of that. And Gino's like, yeah, I really would like to know. And he basically says, the answer lies in everything that I've said. Because the thing is, it's because there is no answer. There's no specific answer because nothing of what he's saying is, I don't want to say nothing is true, but all of it is just like there's no thing that he can pinpoint because it's not there. It's all in his mind. I feel like that's wrong to say, but I'm saying it. Like I don't know how else to say it. Yeah, so the interview, honestly, from after all the points that I've said, like after around 40 minutes of the interview, you can stop watching. Like after that, honestly, they just go on to speak about nothingness and just very banal things. Like they just talk and talk and talk and just say how much they respect each other and love each other and how they just want to do better for their daughter, da 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 da. Like after that, honestly, after the first 40 minutes, the heat is over. Like you can literally stop watching the interview. But yeah, the best thing that he said, honestly, from this interview was we are all worthy of redemption.
And ultimately sees something that they used to regard as dysfunctional as
Yeah.
something that is worthy of redemption. So,
Yeah. Oh, that's big. Something that's worthy of redemption.
yeah.
I think we are worthy of redemption.
Everyone. All of us.
Everyone.
All of us.
And I really believe that because we can all redeem ourselves and we can all improve. But we can only improve once we see what the fault is. And the fault lies within us. Even if someone lied to you, even if someone stole something of yours, I feel like it's counterproductive to be like, oh, they're the problem. Look at what um how you facilitated them stealing, right? Not saying everything that happens to you is your fault. I'm not saying that. I'm saying perhaps you could have not put it there. Perhaps you could have not allowed them into your space. And sometimes, honestly, if some things just catch you off guard. But a lot of times we facilitate things that happen to us. And it's up to us to look at those things and say, how can I improve the things that I've done to not make them happen again? And Dineo says this so many times in the interview, but he refuses to listen. And that's why I think he says it's on the healing path, but I don't really believe it. But I hope he is, for his sake and for his daughter's sake and for Janella's sake, because she needs to keep dealing with him. I hope that he really has healed. Yeah, the interview was great. I watched it twice just to be able to get all the points that I wanted to say. And yeah, I can't wait to watch more interviews. I want to just tuck in my ears. I want to tuck it. Is it better this way? No, it's not, because my eyes are doing this now. Okay. I can't wait to watch more interviews from Dineo Ranaka. I can't wait to see which guests that she has. She's probably gonna have Samizi there because I think they're friends. I hope we get maybe Minnie Dlamini. I would like to know what happened in her marriage. Who else? Yeah, I don't care about Kelly Kumalo. Like, please, I'm done. No, I don't want to hear that. Mohale, you can have Mohale. I want to hear what happened with the knife and the car. Please have Mohale on the podcast. I would love to see that. But she's friends with Sumizi, so I don't think she would do that. But I would love to see that. Anyway, you guys, that's it for my recapitulation of the episode. Yeah, I'm using big words. I'm playing this game. I'm playing this game called Vocabulary Builder, and I learned the word recapitulation yesterday, and I was like, I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use it. It means summary, if you didn't know it like me. But yeah, that's it for my recapitulation of this episode. I think this podcast is gonna be really, really good. I doubt that it's gonna be big as that other disgusting podcast that I will not name. Just because she's not gonna be sensational. Like she's not going to try to be scandalous. I feel like she's just gonna try to get to the truth, and people don't really care for that. People want scandals. But maybe I might be wrong. Maybe she is gonna go after the scandals. We will see. Anyway, that's it for today's video. See you on the next one. Goodbye.